All right, welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty revolutionary idea, the idea that you aren't just a product of your circumstances, but you are the actual architect of your own life. We're getting into the world of Alfred Adler and his incredibly empowering way of thinking, called individual psychology. Let's see how one man's personal struggle completely unlocked a profound truth about what we're all capable of.
So, let's just kick things off with a question that really cuts to the core of it all. I mean, think about it. How is it that some people, born into the toughest situations imaginable, rise up to become incredible leaders, while others who seem to have been handed everything on a silver platter just falter? What's the real difference maker here?
Well, about a century ago, a psychologist in Vienna came up with a pretty radical answer. He basically said that the hand you're dealt in life, your genes, your family, your environment, that's not the end of the story, not even close. The real answer, he said, is in what we do with it. It's about the meaning we create from our circumstances and the direction we choose to go.
And the thing is, this psychologist, Alfred Adler, he wasn't just talking theory. His own life was basically exhibit A for his ideas. His story is just this incredible example of turning what seems like a major weakness into a world-changing strength. So check this out, because his backstory is pretty much the blueprint for his entire philosophy. He was born in Vienna, a frail, sickly kid, always kind of living in the shadow of his healthy, successful older brother. Then, at 5 years old, he gets a brutal case of pneumonia and nearly dies. Imagine hearing a doctor tell your father, your boy is lost. For most, that would be crushing. But for Adler, that was the spark. He didn't give up, no way. He made a vow right then and there. He was going to become a doctor and defeat death itself. And this, right here, just perfectly captures his main idea. That feeling of being small, of being weak, of being less than. For Adler, that wasn't a life sentence. It was fuel. It was the very engine that pushed him forward, turning this deep childhood vulnerability into a powerful, lifelong mission. Okay, so that brings us to what he saw as the engine of our psychology, this universal human drive that he believed explains almost everything we do. And it's a drive that can either take us down a path of connection and growth, or, well, a much darker, more lonely road. So here was Adler's big aha moment. Every single one of us starts life feeling inferior, right? We're born tiny, helpless, and totally dependent on others. But, and this is the key, he completely reframed this. He said this feeling isn't some flaw you should be ashamed of, it's the starting pistol for the race of life. It's the constant nudge that pushes us to learn, to grow, to get better, and to master our world. Okay, so for all driven by this need to overcome that initial feeling of being small, where are we all trying to go? What's the destination? According to Adler, this is probably the most important question you can ask about your life, because the goal you choose, consciously or not, shapes everything about you. He basically said there are two main roads you can take. On one side, you've got the neurotic path. This is all about striving for personal superiority. The goal here isn't just to succeed, it's to be better than everyone else, to stand on top and look down. It's a lonely path that's really just a cover for deep, deep insecurity. But then you've got the healthy path. This is about striving for success, for perfection, but as part of a community. The goal is to get better in a way that helps everybody. It's about winning with other people, not at their expense. Right, so you might be asking, how do I know which path I'm on? Is there a test? Well, Adler gave us a beautiful and, yeah, kind of challenging way to measure our own psychological health, a sort of barometer for the soul. He had this word for it, Gemeinschaftsgefühl. I know, it's a mouthful, but stick with me. It basically translates to social interest or community feeling. Adler was convinced we are all born with this potential to care about other people, to cooperate, to feel connected. And for him, the real measure of your mental health is simple. How much have you developed that feeling? I love this metaphor because it just nails it. The neurotic person sees life as this cutthroat solo competition. For them to win, somebody else has to lose. But the healthy person, they get it. They understand that life is a team sport. They know their own success is tangled up with the success of everyone around them. Their goal isn't just to score, it's to help the whole team win. Okay, so if the goal is to play for the team, how do you actually do that? Well, this leads us to what I think is Adler's most empowering idea of all, that every single one of us has this creative power to literally build our own lives. He came up with this really fascinating concept called fictionalism.
The idea is that we all create these fictions or life scripts to make a messy, chaotic world feel a little more predictable. Now, these aren't lies. Think of them more like your personal, subjective map of reality. It's like the if then code running in the background of your mind, guiding all of your choices. And here are some classic examples. Just take a second. Do any of these sound familiar? That little voice that says, if I'm perfect, then people will have to love me. Or maybe, if I can just control every little detail, then nothing can go wrong. These are powerful, often unconscious beliefs that literally act as the blueprint for how we live our lives. So, when you take all of this stuff, your goals, how you strive, your secret rule book, it all comes together to create what Adler called your style of life. It's your unique signature, your consistent way of moving through the world. And here's the kicker, you're the one holding the paintbrush. You are not just a lump of clay being molded by your past. You are the artist, and your personality? That's your masterpiece in progress. So, what's the bottom line here? It's that Adler basically sets us free. He's telling us that your past doesn't have to be your prison. Your circumstances don't get the final say. The real power, the creative power, is in how you choose to interpret your experiences and the meaning you decide to give them. And this is where it gets really practical for you and me. The next time that universal feeling of inferiority creeps in, you know that voice in your head that says you're not good enough, not smart enough, not whatever enough? Adler gives us a way to completely transform it. Instead of reacting by trying to puff yourself up or by hiding away, you can just pause and ask a much, much better question.
This one question, it changes everything. How can I use this feeling of weakness, this challenge, this specific set of skills I have? How can I use it to be useful to others? How can I contribute? See, that question immediately moves you off the lonely path of self-obsession and onto the connected path of social interest.
And that, in the end, is the beautiful and honestly liberating message of Alfred Adler. Real strength, real self-worth. It doesn't come from being flawless or being on top of the food chain. It comes from having the courage to show up exactly as you are, imperfect, vulnerable, and totally human, and finding a way to contribute. It's about being useful, not superior. That is how you become the architect of a life that truly matters.